You've tried everything. You turned off your phone an hour before bed, you cut the coffee after 2 in the afternoon. You even bought those expensive sleep gummies that everyone was talking about. And still, you're lying there at 11, at midnight, at 1 in the morning, staring at the ceiling with a mind that simply refuses to stop. And the worst part isn't the lying awake. The worst part is what happens the next day, that heavy feeling behind your eyes, the way your thoughts move slowly, like they're pushing through water, the irritability that shows up before you even finish your first cup of coffee, the feeling that your body never actually rested, even though you were technically in bed for 7 hours. If that sounds like your life right now, I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm going to share isn't another sleep tip. It's the biological reason why so many people over 60 can't fall asleep and can't stay asleep, no matter what they try. And more importantly, it's a simple, inexpensive solution that works with your body's own chemistry instead of overriding it. I've been working with older adults for years, and in that time, I've seen the same pattern repeat itself so many times it stops surprising me. Someone comes in exhausted. They've tried melatonin, didn't work. They've tried antihistamines, left them groggy and foggy. They've tried prescription sleep medication, and then had to deal with dependency, withdrawal, and side effects that were sometimes worse than the original problem. What almost nobody had tried, and what almost nobody had been told about, was addressing the actual root of the problem, not the symptom, the cause. Here's what's really happening inside your body when you can't sleep. Your nervous system has two modes. Think of it like a car engine. During the day, you're running at full speed. Stress, decisions, screens, noise, conversation. That's normal. But at night, the engine is supposed to downshift, slow down, cool off, and eventually idle quietly while your body does its repair work. In younger people, that downshift happens fairly automatically. The body releases certain chemicals, temperature drops, the mind softens its grip. But after 60, something changes. The downshift mechanism gets sluggish. The engine keeps revving even when you park the car. And the reason, the specific biological reason, comes down to one neurotransmitter, GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid. GABA is your brain's natural brake pedal. It's the chemical signal that tells your nervous system, enough, it's safe, you can stop now. When GABA is working properly, your mind quiets, your body relaxes, and sleep comes naturally. When GABA isn't working properly, when production is low, your nervous system stays alert. It keeps scanning, it keeps processing. It keeps sending small bursts of activity through your brain even when you desperately want it to stop. And here's the part almost nobody explains. GABA doesn't just appear on its own. Your body has to manufacture it, and that manufacturing process depends on specific raw materials. One of them is an amino acid called glycine, another is magnesium, and critically, it depends on adequate levels of vitamin B6. B6 acts as the cofactor that actually triggers GABA synthesis at the cellular level. When any one of those materials is low, production drops. The brake pedal gets soft, and no amount of sleep hygiene or blackout curtains is going to fix a chemistry problem. So what's the 1 teaspoon I mentioned? Raw honey. Specifically 1 teaspoon of raw, unprocessed honey taken about 30 minutes before bed. Raw honey. Specifically, 1 teaspoon of raw, unprocessed honey taken about 30 minutes before bed. But give me 60 more seconds because the mechanism is genuinely interesting, and it's the mechanism that makes the difference. Raw honey contains a specific combination of natural sugars, primarily fructose and glucose, in a ratio that does something very particular. The glucose causes a small, gentle rise in insulin. That insulin opens the door for tryptophan to cross the blood-brain barrier more easily. Tryptophan is the direct precursor to serotonin, and serotonin, at night, converts into melatonin, your body's own sleep hormone. But that's only half of it. The fructose in raw honey, unlike refined sugar, is metabolized slowly by the liver. This creates a slow, stable release of glycogen into the bloodstream throughout the night. Why does that matter for sleep? Because one of the most common reasons people wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning isn't noise, it isn't anxiety, it's a mild drop in blood sugar. This triggers a small cortisol response. Your stress hormone spikes just enough to pull you out of deep sleep. Your brain interprets it as a mild emergency. The liver glycogen from honey acts as a slow-burning fuel reserve. It keeps blood sugar stable. The cortisol spike doesn't happen, and you stay in deep sleep. A 2018 review published in the Journal of Medicinal Food noted that honey contains chrysin, which may bind to GABA-enhancing receptors. Sleep isn't just about feeling rested. Deprivation is connected to cognitive decline, heart risk, and immune function. Now, I want to be very clear. This is not a sedative. It is not going to knock you unconscious in 30 seconds like a prescription might. What it does is work with your body's natural chemistry to lower the threshold for sleep, to help your nervous system reach that downshift mode. Most people who use this consistently, and consistently is the key word, report that falling asleep becomes less of a struggle within 1 to 2 weeks. And staying asleep, particularly avoiding that 3 a.m. wake up, improves significantly by the second or third week. Let me tell you about a patient, a 68-year-old retired teacher. She had been dealing with fragmented sleep for almost 4 years. She'd wake up between 2 and 3 a.m., sometimes 4 times in a night. She'd lie there for an hour, mind racing, before drifting off again. She had already tried melatonin, up to 10 milligrams, and felt nothing except groggier mornings. Her labs were all unremarkable. We started with 1 teaspoon of raw honey 30 minutes before bed. Nothing else changed for the first 2 weeks, just that. In the first week, she noticed something small but meaningful. When she woke up at 2 a.m., she fell back asleep in 20 minutes instead of 45. The waking still happened, but the window of lying there, frustrated, that got shorter. By week 3, she was waking up once instead of 4 times. By the end of the second month, she was sleeping through to 5:30 most mornings. Not perfect, but consistently better than it had been in years. The change wasn't dramatic. It never is with approaches that work through physiology rather than sedation, but it was real, and it lasted. Now, how to use this correctly, because this is where most people make mistakes. First, the type of honey matters. You need raw, unprocessed honey, not the honey bear from the grocery store shelf. That product has typically been heated, filtered, and processed in ways that destroy the bioactive compounds. Raw honey looks cloudier and is found at farmers markets or health food stores. Manuka honey is an excellent option if you can find it. Second, the amount, 1 teaspoon, not a tablespoon, not a large spoonful. The effect we're looking for is very specific. Too much and you tip the balance in the wrong direction, the insulin response becomes too strong, and you may actually disrupt sleep. Third, the timing, 30 minutes before you intend to sleep. Not 2 hours before, by then the effect has passed. Not right as you're getting into bed. 30 minutes before you intend to sleep. Not 2 hours before, by then the effect has passed. Not right as you're getting into bed. Set a small alarm if you need to. Fourth, and this makes the biggest difference, take it alone or with a small glass of warm water. Not with milk, not with tea, not after a large meal. The goal is a clean, simple input. Adding other foods, especially proteins or fats, slows absorption in ways that reduce the effect. Now, a word about what this works best for. If your problem is difficulty falling or staying asleep, this addresses the underlying physiology. That's who this is for. If you have symptoms beyond sleep, pain, breathing interruptions, or gasping, those are signs of something that requires evaluation. Sleep apnea is remarkably common in adults over 60 and is frequently underdiagnosed. No nutritional approach replaces that conversation with your doctor. Similarly, if you're managing diabetes or monitoring blood sugar carefully, speak with your physician before adding honey to your routine. One more thing. Sleep isn't just about feeling rested. There is research connecting chronic sleep deprivation in older adults with accelerated cognitive decline. A 2021 study in the journal Nature Aging found that consistently sleeping less than 6 hours per night in midlife was associated with a significantly higher risk of developing dementia later. Sleep is not passive recovery. It's the window during which your brain literally clears waste products, including the proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease. Getting your sleep right is one of the most important things you can do for your health after 60. It's worth taking seriously. Start tonight. 1 teaspoon raw honey 30 minutes before bed. Give it 2 weeks. Track how quickly you fall back asleep if you wake up. You don't need a sleep tracker or an app, just notice. Your body will tell you if something is shifting. If this gave you a new understanding, hit the like button. It takes 1 second and it tells the platform that this information deserves to reach the millions of exhausted older adults who haven't been given an explanation. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week there's one piece of practical health information here, the kind that usually gets skipped in a 10-minute doctor's appointment. And leave me a comment. When you wake up in the middle of the night, what time is it almost always? 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4? Tell me below. There's a specific biological reason for each of those windows. I read every comment and I respond when I can.